Counting down from 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Well, hello everybody. Jeff Cowan here from Jeff Cowan's Pro Talk. Thank you for watching and listening to this video today. And I got to tell you, the topic today is one that I get asked about every single time I show up for any live event. And the topic today is handling objections. This is something that most service advisors really struggle with. The biggest reason is they're not trained, and since they're not trained, they really don't understand the art of handling objections. And the biggest problem I see with them being able to handle objections is this. I mean, this is a great question. Do you know the difference between a question and an objection? Because most advisors don't. The customer will ask a question, the advisor misreads it because they're not trained, misreads the question, handles it like an objection, which almost always leads to them, since they've misread the situation, always leads to them discounting and giving their money away or completely losing the sale. So what am I talking about the differences here? Well, let's take a look at what questions are. You know, when a customer says, I did not know it'd be that much, or they say something like, that seems high to me, or they say something like, will it really take that long, or is all of this necessary, or I'm going to have to think about this. You see, what they're doing here is this. When a customer says one of these things or a variation of, they're telling you that they do not understand the proposition. What they're telling you is I don't see the value to me. What I'm telling you is I don't see the benefits to me. And what they're asking you to do is represent it to me. Include benefits in your presentation this time, or change the benefits because the ones you were talking about really didn't apply to me. But I'm not understanding what you're talking about here. I'm not understanding the value in the entire proposition. So answer that question for me, and I'll move ahead, and I'll do everything you're asking me to do with no discounting. You see, when you answer a question that a customer asks versus trying to answer that question by handling an objection that it's really not, that's when you lose. So what are objections? Well, let's make sure we understand. Objections are things like this. No, I'll pass on that. No, I'll wait on that. I'll have to bring it back another time, or I can get it cheaper. See, that's an objection. And here's why I say that, because when a customer says one of these things or the like, they're objecting to your offer. They're telling you, no, I don't want it right now. No, I don't think that's good for me. And so now is the time to go in and handle objections. So now the question is, how do you handle the objections? Now, we don't have a lot of time here today, but let me give you the formula for doing this, okay? Okay, there's three simple strategies here. Strategies for handling objections. Number one, write down every objection you get for each product or service you offer. So literally, every product and service you offer. Now, now in these shops, you have a couple hundred of these, so it will take you time to build this. But for every product and service you have, listen to the objections that the customers give you. Every one of them. Some of these products might not have any objections. Some might have one or two. Some might have 10 or 15 different ways or different objections. And so what you're going to do, number two, is develop at least 3 responses for each objection that you get. Okay? 3 responses for each objection that you get. And this is something that's fun to do as a team. So maybe if you're a manager watching this, you'd get your team together and say, okay, let's each come up with 1 or 2 ways to handle this objection, and then you share them with one another. And then once you have them written down, then you practice, 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 practice the words. Okay, over and over and over. So when you walk out on the service drive, and the next time you hear one of those objections, you're very smooth in being able to handle it. Now, before I close this out, let me share something else out with you, because people say, well, how do I know if I'm using the right objection? How do I know if what I came up with is the right way to handle it? Well, that's easy. If you handle the objection and the customer still says no, it was probably the wrong way to handle it. But if you handle it and they say yes, it was probably the right way. Well, Jeff, that seems kind of dangerous, because if I don't know which right or wrong, maybe I might cost myself some sales. And if you're new at this job, or if you've never been schooled in how to handle objections, you probably will lose some sales. That's the bad news. But here's the good news. 15 customers a day is what the average service advisor writes. So 15 customers a day, that's 75 a week, that's 300 a month. In 2 months' time, you will have 600 customers to work with to perfect this part of the sale. And if you can't perfect how to handle objections in 600 attempts, then you may not be sitting in the right chair. Maybe you're not cut out to be an advisor. But if you practice, 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 that's the way to do it. And the more you practice, the better you'll get. The less sales you'll lose, the less money you'll give up, and the more successful you will be. Now, if you have any more questions about this, please reach out to us anytime. You can reach us by dialing 1-800-248-2931, or you can simply look us up on automotiveservicetraining.com, automotiveservicetraining.com. And I tell you what, I can really help you out with this because I've got a tool called the Pocket Guide, which lists out 28 different services, how to present them, and then with each one of those services, there's at least 3 and sometimes 5 or 6 ways to handle the objections you would hear from presenting those services. So I've already got the words written for you if you want them. And if you really want to get aggressive, we've got it on virtual training, and our virtual training will role play with you to help you get these objection handling formulas down word for word. Hey, if you liked what you saw here today and you saw some benefit in it, then share it with some of your colleagues who may have heard too many objections themselves. And make sure you like us, make sure you subscribe to us, and make sure you come back to Jeff Cowan's Pro Talk YouTube channel here, or any channel you're viewing this on, and watch us in the future. This is Jeff Cowan signing off. God bless you. I'll see you next time in our next video. Take care.